All right, everybody, the ridiculousness continues. I've got two Emiras, and they're not just sitting in my garage, I bought them both. Let me tell you the story. So 30 months ago, so almost 3 years ago, Mike F. and I, Mike, if you've seen in all the videos, decided we were going to order Emiras. So we called the Jacksonville dealer, and it was a $5,000 deposit, and we thought it would be 12 months or something like that, and we'd get them. Of course, they had all the issues with the launch cars and them stuck at port and all kinds of things going on with the Emiras, and so we weren't on the launch list. I didn't want the launch car anyway. This is what I wanted. I didn't want the first edition. And so just this past year, like the end of the year, I think it was maybe November, I got contacted and our cars were ready. Well, Mike, of course, had gotten his ultraviolet GT3 RS, and so he didn't want it and called them to get his $5,000 back, and they said, go pound sand. So I said, well, you know what? I come up with an idea. I'll take your spot. Not thinking they'd both come at the same time, but I'll take your spot and I'll do a giveaway on one and keep one. And about 6 months, 8 months before that, I had placed an order or I'd placed a deposit down to get my GT4 RS. I'd been talking about it for 4 years. Well, luck should have it, my luck should have it. Not only did one Emira show up, the other one showed up, and my GT4 RS showed up as well. So this is the way it always goes for me. So I ordered these two. I ordered one 30 months ago, took Mike's spot, say 12 months ago, ordered a GT4 RS really 4 years ago, and they all show up the same week. So I guess it's a good problem to have, other than you got to pay for them somehow. So anyway, I wanted to introduce you to the Emiras, but I at least needed to explain to you why do I have two of the same car? That's ridiculous. And so my original plan, take the GT4 RS out of the allocation, out of the situation here. My allocation wasn't supposed to be fulfilled until I was supposed to get the car in August. So I was going to do a giveaway where the winner got to pick the color. I don't have time to do that. So right now, officially, the red one is for sale. The white one will be the giveaway car. The giveaway is going to start on June 1st and run through July 15th. So it'll be 45 days. We'll make sure you know about it. We'll announce it. You're going to see all kinds of modifications and all the things I normally do to make it OE+. But the red one is for sale. I think it has 11 miles on it or something like that. I haven't polished or done my thing to these yet. But what my intention with the red one is to sell it for what I paid for it. I'm not trying to mark it up or anything, but I'm going to do my Matt Mormon 50 hours of perfecting, because anytime you get a car, even from the factory, it's kind of jacked up, and so I need to do my thing. I'm going to polish, PPF, coat, treat the interior, and I tell you what, if you want, shoot me an email. I'll send you the window sticker. Shoot me an email if you want to buy it. I'll do whatever modifications you want. I mean, I get most of the things at cost. So if you want like even Churi intake or any Greg Smith parts or suspension, I can do alignment. I have my own alignment system that I can use. Tires are going to be denibbed, coated. Interior is going to be treated. Windows can be tinted. All those kind of things I'll have done, and it'll be ready turnkey for you. It'll be better than new. And I'm just looking to get out of it because I got into a GT4 RS and had to, I have to wire the funds today. The guy was just calling me. So anyway, hit me up if you're interested. So let's formally introduce these. This is how they came from the factory, from the dealer. Of course, what I always do to all the dealers is I say, don't touch them. Just send them to me. There was like 1 mile till empty, no gas, no touching them. They had like the shoe polish thing on it. Where it said do not detail and had like port of entry and stuff like that on it. So the only thing I did to them, I've driven them both maybe about 10 miles, just driving around the neighborhood. I gassed them up, drove them a little bit. I do love it, by the way. So I probably shouldn't sell this because I'm going to end up buying one of these. I'm fairly certain. I just don't have room for it in my life right now. Plus, I'll get to experience the giveaway car. We're going to take it to the track. We're going to modify it. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff before we give it to the next person. but they showed up covered in pollen and transit, dust and dirt, because they come over from the UK. They entered port of entry in Baltimore and then came on a truck, shipped down to the Jacksonville dealer, and then they shipped them in closed car carrier, both at the same time, same day, showed up at my house about 2 weeks ago. So the only thing that I've done to them, I pulled all the cellophane out of the interiors, like all the plastics and stuff, pulled all the cellophane off the screens, and there was nothing on the exterior, so there was no cellophane or no protective stuff on the exterior, and then I did just a touchless built hammer wash. So I didn't touch the car, I just built hammered it, and then I sprayed it down. And a really interesting phenomenon, which I've never seen before, some of that pollen kind of pooled up. And so the built hammer, I can't explain to you how dirty they were, and I know cars always look clean on camera, but they were piled with dirt. And so it got it like 90% clean, but I let it air dry. This is not water spots, because I tested. I'm like, man, maybe my DI system maybe my meter isn't correct, or my gauge isn't correct. But I got all these water spots on it. This one I rinseless to get those spots off. So I just kind of did a real basic rinseless. So that's the only thing I've done in the car. I haven't cleaned the wheels or tires or anything like that. And so just a quick touchless built hammer, spray on, spray off. So my intention for both of these, and then we'll get into the spec differences. So this car, my intention is to paint correct it, PPF it, coat it, coat the windows, remove the wheels, denib the tires, prep the tires, coat the wheels, coat the calipers, coat the exhaust, but leave this stock unless somebody wants me to modify it. It's officially for sale right now, so the sticker on it was 109 and change. So what I'm looking for 109 plus whatever my tax was. So just make me whole, and I'm gonna do $8,000 worth of prep to it that you'd have to pay someone to do it, and then I'd argue it's probably going to do it way better than what you're going to pay someone to do it. And so this car's plan is to just get it to Maddie's spec, full OE, and then send it off to greener pastures, and then someday I'll buy another one. This car, we're going to do the full-on OE Plus. So I'm going to do the same thing. My friends at Armor Detail Supply, so Bradley and Jeff, are going to come up, and we're going to do a whole series on garage hang, decon correction, protection, PPF, using primarily Armor Detail Supply products. It'll officially launch the giveaway. So that I'm doing in a couple of weeks. About 3 weeks is when I'm going to start to dig into this car. I'll probably polish it myself before those guys get here, so it'll be about all prepped and ready to go. Treat the interior, all that stuff. But this is going to get Greg Smith, a bunch of Greg Smith parts. I'm going to do nitron coilovers, signature wheels. I'll still do cup twos, but signature wheels, radar detector. I'll do third muffler delete, Greg Smith exhaust. Greg Smith has a really cool front lip. What else am I planning on doing? Probably even Venturi intake, a bunch of carbon fiber parts, just all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm going to set this up. One of the things that I think I do differently than other giveaway owners, one, I start with a better car, and then two, I do it and set it up exactly the way I would want it had I built it for myself. So we're going to spare no expense and do all the things that I think are cool, and get this thing set up the way that I would want. Then I'll learn all the lessons, so that way when I'm fairly certain I'm going to buy one of these cars after this, maybe in a couple of years, once I get things organized. I have to sell the Evo. I want to get a Model S, and just kind of get my life together and get my HQ, progressing, get the garage door on the front of HQ so I can keep my E92 there. So anyway, it's just bad timing in my life, and so that's why I'm doing the ridiculous thing, in that I could have just said, no, I don't want the car, and lost $5,000. But I did want to experience it, and it's a lot of fun getting two new cars that are dream cars. So let's go through the differences. The white one sticker, I haven't really memorized this stuff yet. The sticker on the white one is 113,750. The sticker on the red one is $109,950. So what is that? $3,700 difference, $3,800 difference between the two. And so the red one's a little bit cheaper. The differences would be paint, obviously. So the vivid red paint, which, man, I need a red car in my life. This is pretty sick. When people see the red, like everybody in photos is like definitely white. But when you see the red in person, everybody's been like, man, that red really does pop. Especially once I get this thing polished to perfection and coated, it's going to look really, really cool. So on the red one, I decided I wanted to go full gentleman spec. This is the one I was planning on keeping for me, just something different than what I normally have, because this is my normal go-to, you know, Stormtrooper white. And so this car doesn't have the black pack, and that's part of the difference in price. So it has the lower black pack, which is free. It has sport suspension. I don't know why anyone would buy the touring suspension unless you're 90 years old. Definitely sport suspension, although it's not really going to matter if I change the coilovers. But the advantage of ordering non-black pack is you get more paint, you know, and so it makes the red pop more. So vivid red, sport suspension, lower black pack, silver wheels and silver calipers. And so the silver calipers, I just thought, you know, was grown-up spec on, because you don't want to do some weird color on red. In red, I think you either want black or silver calipers. And so I chose the silver caliper option, which was $600. These are the V-spoke forged wheels, so they do have a forged option. That's $1,750. And then what I think is the coolest is the tan leather, brown, saddle brown looking leather. I think these interiors are great. This is why, you know, I was never an Evora guy, even though this is basically an Evora, you know, with a prettier body and a much better interior. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of carryover parts from the Evora, but that interior looks fantastic, and I haven't even done anything to it. Wait till I treat the leather and get it all dialed in, wipe it all down, get it set up. So that was $1,950. And then this car, I decided to do the leather steering wheel. So again, gentleman spec, leather steering wheel, but Alcantara headliner. I like them both. But, you know, obviously leather is easier to take care of. It is, you know, the leather in here is nice. It smells like a brand new leather, new car. Really, really sweet. And so I did the Alcantara headliner, which was $650. Sport pedals. So it does have sport pedals, which are way up in there. I will tell you, well, I'll kind of give you my initial assessment at the end here, but man, those pedals are close together. Premium floor mats were $250. The sport pedals were $250. Because I did a red car and a white car, I didn't want the yellow badges, and so the badges up front are black, and then the badges, the Emira V6 badge on the side is black. I'll take this Lotus nonsense off, so I'll debadge this here, so that'll come off and it'll look super clean. No one will know what the car is, which I like. Then we did, let's see, KEF Premium Audio. There's nothing premium about the KEF Premium Audio. It's like, it's not good. It's real bad. It's really bad. Like awful. Not GT3 bad, but pretty bad. Michelin Sport Cup 2s were $500. I'm in Florida. Anytime I can get Cup 2s, I'm down for Cup 2s. Privacy glass, so the rear 3 are tinted. And then the battery maintainer was $0. And plus $2,350 transport. The base price of the car was $99,900. The one thing that stinks about these cars, and this is the same thing like, you know, a lot of like the Aston configurator, they don't like tell you what things cost. That's what's so great about the Porsche configurator. You can live on it and learn and figure out what you're going to buy or what you're not. With this, I added all this stuff up. And to be honest with you, because my life is chaos at the moment, I was filling out the paperwork and wiring funds, and I said to him, you know, what do these things cost? So like, what? I wanted to make sure it wasn't like marked up on the paperwork, because I didn't have a window sticker. I'd configured them, but you don't know what any of these prices are. And you know, I ordered them so long ago, and then when I said, yeah, let's do it, and I dreamt up the giveaway idea, I just, you know, I wasn't committed to it. I know I've become very jaded, this is what I do for a living. It's to mess with cars, and I've got cars coming in and out all the time. And so I didn't want to know because I knew it was going to be expensive. But I do think, even though this car was $109,000, it sure feels. Doesn't this feel like a much more expensive car? It feels like a $200,000 car to me. I feel like you're getting, granted it's a Camry engine in here with a supercharger on it, but that's what you want, I think. I think you'd rather have a Camry engine, some exotic thing that doesn't work. So that engine's going to be freaking bulletproof. The drivetrain is pretty bulletproof. Now the trunk doesn't open when you push the button, but so you got some of that British jank. But in general, I think this is the only car right now new that once the GT4 RS goes away, this is the only new car that I have any interest in buying. There's not a Ferrari I want. There's not a Porsche I want. This is the cool best of analog. Really, really awesome car. So $109,950 was the sticker price on this. Then the white car was $113,750, like I said earlier. And so the major difference is you have to pay for mist white. Obviously, these are both V6 supercharged. Obviously, I'm going to choose sports suspension. Obviously, they're manual transmissions because I'm not a baby. We can imagine buying a 4-cylinder auto. Well, man, it's going to be more tunable. That's nonsense. I don't care about that. I want the car. I don't want to drive around with a laptop in my front seat. With some baby 4-cylinder. I want it to sound good. I want it to perform. I want it to be like a grown-up spec. So anyway, V6 obviously, and then mist white was $1,250. So that's $1,250 of the delta difference. To me, the mist white seems, it doesn't pop as much as the red, so the red being free is pretty cool. Red must be easier to paint. Sport suspension, but this has the full exterior black pack. So the black pack on the bottom, like the red, that all matches. That's the same. Black here, black here, but then the full black pack gives you the black roof. And I think it's painted black. I'm pretty sure that the A, B, C pillar and the roof is painted black, but we'll find out when we polish it. This one I did red calipers, so that was the same price, $600 for red or silver. So I did red, just a little bit different. Normally I would do yellow, and I would have done the yellow badge, but on this one I did red. And then they come with that goofy lug, safety lug, which I don't like because then I gotta always make sure that I have the safety key in the car. Now this car has red leather. Red leather is the same price as tan. Yep, $1,950. S2000 spec, white, red interior. That's why I decided to do this. But I think the move on this is probably white with tan interior. That's also an S2000 spec. But I've been dreaming about a red car for a while and then a red interior car. And so I couldn't put the red in the red car because that's goofy. And so I wanted the red interior. What I really want to do is a Gen 2 NSX with the white with red interior, something I'd love to get it someday. Then this one has the Alcantara steering wheel. So the leather steering wheel was free. The Alcantara steering wheel was $550. Black Alcantara headliner, sport pedals, premium carpet, floor mats. All these are the same. The black and silver nose badge and center caps. So those are black, same as the red car. KEF premium audio, Michelin powered Sport Cup 2s. Privacy glass, and the battery maintainer. So $113,750. So the price difference comes in $1,250 for mist white, $1,500 for the black pack. So there's $2,750. Another $500. So you're at $3,250. $500 for the black wheels versus silver, and then the Alcantara steering wheel. And so there's your delta. There's your difference between the two cars. But I think $113,750 is the most you can spend. I don't think, unless one of the other colors was a little bit more than mist white, I think that's like, it's fully loaded, man. So that's what you would call fully loaded because I chose, all the options. And it's really easy to choose all the options when you don't know what they cost, which is stupid. And I guess you could just be more inquisitive with the dealer, but what am I going to say? So A couple of things that I've noted thus far. I'll show you the keys on them. The keys are pretty cool. So there's two quirks. I think these are known quirks to these cars. One, the trunk sensor doesn't work well. So, yeah, see, it's not going to open. So there's some weird combination where it thinks that the trunk is open. And so it wants to click, but right now, like the sensor thinks the trunk's open, so it doesn't pop the trunk. See, and then all of a sudden it'll just work. So here's what the trunk looks like. I have the Lotus battery maintainers, and so that's why I have the little back panel taken off here, because I've been keeping on the battery maintainer. This there's clearly a bunch of fiberglass because I love that smell. You smell that fiberglass, Mike? Obviously the supercharged V6. I think that the way to go on these would be I'm sure there's tunes, pulley, intake, exhaust. So I think you can make 500 or 450, 475 horsepower with the crank on these. I haven't really wrung it out yet to find out how much more horsepower would I even care. What are these, 3,100 pounds, something like that? Right at 3,000 pounds. So it feels very appropriate. It feels nice and torquey. It does redline at 7,000 RPM, so it doesn't inspire you to rev it out. But once I get this all dialed and clean, I always underestimate how much effort it takes to get a car to my standard. It's going to take a long time, a lot of effort. But anyway, sorry, I said I was going to show you the key. So here's the key. It says for the drivers. Pretty neat. It's plastic, but it's a nice premium looking plastic, I guess, with a little holder on the side here is how it works. Put a GT3 RS key strap on so I know which one was the red one. But yeah, the odd thing with the trunk is that, let's see if it'll open. See, it thinks it's open. So then I try like locking, unlocking. It's really annoying, and then sometimes it works. So interesting, but the other quirk that I found thus far is that sometimes the window sensor, like the window won't close, it goes up and then goes down, and then goes up and then goes down. But it only happened once, and I couldn't fix it, and then when I turned the car on and off, it worked. So that was kind of, maybe that won't come back, but I think that's another known issue on these cars. So the enter-exit of it is not terrible, but this is the other thing that I don't love. I'm 6'2", 230. I wear sizes 11 and a half, 12. If I were to put the seat all the way back, it's further than I can handle. And so I think you could be, maybe 6'5", but the problem you'll find is the headroom. So here is too far back for me because then I can't really reach the bottom of the clutch. So there's a good 2 or 3 inches in position from where I would sit. But the problem with the seat is it sits a little too tall. Like if they had a little bit more condensed seat, so I'm all the way down, and then I have to do a little bit of a gangster lean just to kind of get so I can see properly. So I'm looking at this point of the windshield, and then visibility out the rear is pretty decent, except for when you're backing up. But you'll have the backup camera. The start stop is here, and I do have the key in my pocket, don't I? Push it too many times. Like I said, the audio system kind of sucks. I do like the digital display is kind of nice. Steering wheel is nice. It's a fatter steering wheel. But the thing that this car is about, the little bit of driving, I have 17 miles on it. The little bit of driving that I've done around the neighborhood here, because it's not, I want to get the PPF done. This thing is like a frickin' scalpel. It is pretty remarkable. I really like how it sounds. I like how it delivers power. I like how the steering feel is amazing. The pedals are ridiculously close. I'm pretty sure what they do, you have this little tunnel here, and so it kind of limits the amount of space because they want to squeeze a dead pedal. I almost wish they would just eliminate the darn dead pedal and it was spread out because, you know, my size 12 feet, I tend to, you know, as I'm clutching in, I tend to have to clutch on my big toe to keep my feet from hitting if I were to brake. But then the other advantage is since it's so close, I can heel toe this pretty easily. Unlike most of my cars, I'm not a good heel tower, if you will. I wish they would. One thing I also wish they would do is get rid of the frickin' steering wheel controls. I mean, it's literally like right here. I can just reach it right there. I don't need steering wheel controls. So that's what I love about my 991 GT3 and then the GT4 RS is it has a bare steering wheel without a bunch of goofy stuff on it. I like the steering wheel. I like the cockpit. I like how it feels, and I'm sitting in here. It's not like an Evora where it's super tight. It feels like a grown-up sports car. I mean, again, for the money, I think this is the best car that currently exists, even with a little bit of quirks. You have 3 modes. You have sport, touring, and track. I freaking hate that. I hate the different drive modes. Just pick one and leave it alone. So I love the GT3s. Just make it great and leave it alone. So I'm going to modify the suspension, modify the exhaust, get rid of the valves, or at least press the button to leave the valves open because you're going to check engine light. So get rid of valves, get rid of suspension modes, and just leave it alone. Just drive the darn thing. I'll probably still have to put it into sport mode or something like that. The other quirk that I don't like about the car is this to me, when it's in reverse or in first gear, that to me looks like neutral. It's almost like so this is neutral here. So neutral just doesn't, it's like, I feel like it's in the wrong spot. And so you have this long, distance down to second, but then this really short distance to first. Now, when you're driving the car, it feels great, very mechanical. Greg Smith has a short shifter kit for it. It's just like a little piece, I guess, that shortens up the distance to the cable. It does feel very mechanical. Obviously, I chose the exposed shift linkage, which is awesome. But that is the one thing that's a little bit weird to me is where the position of the shifter sits. So I'm always wondering, am I in neutral or am I in first? And so I have to remind myself. This is first to second, third, fourth, fifth, and overdrive, sixth gear. And then to go into reverse, you pull the whatever the stop, and then you come up over into reverse. Your drive modes are done here. And then it does have some manual controls for your AC, but you're going to do most of it, in the menu. And it's fine. It does. I feel like this kind of thing will date the car, but like you even see, like when you go into settings, it's very clean, very simple. It does feel a little bit Chinese, cheap. But in general, it functions. It's okay. It wasn't super intuitive for me to figure out how to turn on and off the air conditioning system. Like I had to kind of think about it for a second. But everything else seems pretty normal, pretty fine. But it's got your freaking goofy cup holders and stuff here. Your glove compartment's right there. But the leather is really pretty nice. It does have a full leather dash up to here, which is I'm guessing this is vinyl. I feel maybe it's leather. And GT3 RS is vinyl there, so the doors, I don't know. It's hard to tell. This bottom section is probably vinyl. Maybe someone in the comments can help me out here. Is this any of the door cards? Obviously this section here, the tan part is leather. But is this all leather up here as well, and leather on the bottom of the doors? So, but I think I could get really comfortable in this on a road trip. I'm going to find out when I put my helmet on when I take it to the track how it does with my head. I might have to gangster lean a little bit more, which I like to sit. My ideal position is to sit nice and upright. So in order to get comfortable in the car where my head isn't touching the darn roof, I do have to kind of do a little bit of a lean and a little bit of a slouch, which is not ideal for me, but I think it's worth it. You know, same thing as my S2000. I had to do the same thing. I had to do a slouch. I had to do a slight forward and lean back with a lowered seat rail. It doesn't appear that there's a lot of room here to like modify these seats with a different rail, so I don't think that's possible. But I don't know, we'll see. So you have some storage back there, which I don't give a crap about. You do have USB-C and USB-A connections. And so a lot of the modern trappings that you wouldn't expect has memory seats that you wouldn't expect a Lotus to have. So this makes a Lotus, I think, really, really nice. No auto rev match, so you got to do that on your own. So it has a very 2010s drivetrain, which I love. You know, I think that's peak car. The front, there's no storage in the front area, and actually it doesn't open. You have to take a couple of screws out in order to open that up. I'll have to do that when I polish it. But this interior is pretty sick. Let me show you the white one. This one has 16 miles on it. So I drove them both about 10 miles. And just kind of tooling around the neighborhood because I don't want to get any rock chips yet. But the Alcantara steering wheel is nice. I think if I were suggesting, this Alcantara isn't as nice as the Alcantara from Porsche. So I would probably recommend to you that you did the leather wheel. The leather wheel does feel nicer, but it does give me, since I have two of them, it does give me a little bit different driving feel. See what I'm saying? See, look at that. And you're in second gear, that thing seems way down there. And then first gear is like right there. So a long, it feels, so from neutral to first, I guess it's the same distance, but it's just, maybe it's an optical illusion. And maybe they're possibly doing that where the shifting gate is to be closer to the driver. I feel like I'm a little far away on this seat. But very mechanical. It's what you want your car to feel like. Not quite S2000, quality, but man, it's nice. It's nice. One thing I will, I have, because maybe the way that the speed at which the V6 and the supercharger rev, I haven't really gotten I'm usually pretty good at rev, downshift rev matching, but I haven't kind of figured out how to make that work, really well yet. But yeah, this interior is pretty nice. You got your lighting controls and stuff, so I'll put radar detector in. I think I talked to my friends at Blend Mount. I don't feel the need to tint the back at all, so I'll leave that alone. Maybe I'll tint the sides and the windshield. But even then, it's so tight and compact that I don't even know that that's necessary. But the red interior, the leather's really nice. I'm pretty pumped about this thing. So this will be the giveaway car, and that will be the car I'll sell. And then I'll probably end up buying another one of these next year when I'm ready for it. After the GT4 RS gets dialed, my Evo gets sold, I'll buy another one and do it again. Which is the spice of life. That's part of the fun. So anyway, 2 Emiras. This will be, the way that we do giveaways is not really a giveaway, but that's what you have to call it legally. The way that it works is on obsessedgarage.com. I can't open the whole store up. I've been very transparent about this. I have tons of videos sharing the profitability and how this thing works. But we have all kinds of really cool things that you could buy. And so we'll have maybe 50 different things you could buy. It's different from the regular store. You can't go buy Sonic cabinets and we give you a car. I need you to buy the Sonic cabinets and the tchotchkes, the t-shirts and the salt and pepper shakers and all the cool things that we do as a buy-in for the car. Every dollar you spend gets you an entry. Usually at the end, let's say you spent $500, usually you'd have like a 1 in maybe 500, 1 in 250 chance to win the darn thing. So your odds are freaking great. And we're going to pick somebody and give them an Emira and change their life, because these cars are really cool. It looks like a $300,000 car, at least a $200,000 car. The presence, the look, and then I can't even imagine when I get the wheels flush and I get these polished and coated and get the suspension dialed. This thing is gonna, and the exhaust setup, these things are gonna be frick even sweeter than they are stock. Michelle was like, don't mess it up. You're going to mess it up. Leave it alone. I said, nope, this is what I do. I mess things up, and then I fix it. And then I mess it up even more, and then I fix it, and then I find out how to make it better. So, but in stock form, these cars are great. So anyway, hit me up, shoot me an email, matt@obsessedgarage.com if you're interested in the red one. And then keep an eye out for the giveaway. We're going to have tons and tons of content, tons of car stuff coming. My GT4 RS, I'm going to do that as well. Get that all polished and coated and set up, and exhaust and suspension and all that kind of stuff. So I'm living the car guy dream. I get that. And you know, I have very specific taste in cars, and this Lotus really checks all those boxes. Even though it's forced induction with a supercharged V8, or V6 I should say, it sounds incredible. It handles extremely well. It's the right size, the right weight, the right look. You know, I mentioned to you a few little quirks, but man, I think one of these might be in my garage for a long time. I just need to see this through. So after the end of this process, we'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Can't wait to dial this car in for someone. And we'll see you on the next episodes. The first episode will probably be decon wash on the red one. And then we'll start introducing the giveaway and dig deep into the white one coming forward. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.